I helped my brother ditch his fiancée at the altar because she invited our mother. I'm 28 years old, and I have two older brothers, aged 34 and 32. This story concerns the middle brother. For reference, we don't live in the USA. Our parents divorced when I was little due to our mother's intense jealousy. Initially, our father managed, but when she started saying she wanted to be his wife, he couldn't take it anymore. She quickly found a replacement, a man with two children, and for a while, our parents shared custody of me and my brothers. However, when our father remarried, our mother lost her sanity. She called his new wife all sorts of offensive names and claimed he was cheating on her in the marriage. I was always closer to my brothers and father than to our mother because she treated me very harshly. Eventually, my stepmother died in a car accident, and our father called our mother in the middle of the night to inform her that he would take us early for the funeral. Instead, our mother decided to take us on a cheerful outing to celebrate what she considered the happiest day we spent with her. But when we realized what had happened and started crying, she said that only whores cry. As you can understand, the situation escalated, and our father obtained full custody of us with visitation rights for our mother. He never hindered our communication, and even paid for our visits when she moved. Still, our relationship with her was poor, and as soon as we turned 18, we began to minimize contact with her. The last time we saw our mother was at my high school graduation, where she publicly called us ungrateful children, and her husband used bad words towards us. Since then, we completely cut off communication. My middle brother, Sam, started dating his ex-girlfriend 3 years ago when he was 28. She had heard all the stories about our mother and knew why we weren't communicating with her, but she thought we were just being dramatic. They had numerous relationship problems due to her stance on this matter. Eventually, she seemed to have abandoned her attempts to reconcile us with our mother. During the wedding preparations, nothing suspicious was happening until we arrived at the church and saw our mother, her husband, and two children sitting in the front row. I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought she might have somehow learned about the wedding and wanted to call it off, so he called his ex to warn her about potential problems. She responded that everything was fine because she had invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to come to him. While my older brother was handling the situation at the church, we left for our father's house, where we grew up, and locked ourselves in. Meanwhile, his ex and her family, friends, and others tried to reach him. The groom's father even called and said he always knew about us. Now that everything's settled, most of Sam's friends support him, as does a large part of our paternal family. The ex's parents threatened to sue if he doesn't marry her, but Sam said he'd rather return the money they spent on the wedding than marry a betrayer. My family is fully behind Sam, although the consequences of this situation were serious. Brief update 1. First, you guys simply convinced us of the correctness of our actions. Thank you. Some asked about apologies, but no, Sam's ex never apologized. Moreover, she sent a message to my older brother Joe, saying she considered it a good wedding gift since she values family. My father bought them a house as a wedding gift, but the property documents only list Sam. She had keys to move in, but today they were changed, and Joe and our cousins are collecting all of Sam's belongings from her apartment this week. We're not worried about being sued. Our father doesn't care. It's sad that Sam has a broken heart, but he's trying to cheer it up. Along with my boyfriend, I had to delete my social media profiles due to numerous hateful comments and messages. However, as people learn why Sam fled, such messages are becoming less frequent. I still regret that this woman felt humiliated at her own wedding, but my brother is more important to me. Brief update 2. Second, I asked Joe what happened at the church after my call, and as I expected, he addressed everyone, saying the groom wouldn't come and asked everyone to go home. Gifts would be returned soon. The ex was outside the church when someone from her family informed her, and she began shouting, crying, and incessantly calling Sam. Our mother tried to talk to Joe, but he didn't even look her way. Without getting any reaction, she started loudly weeping and complaining about how terrible we were. Some people began comforting her, which is her usual tactic, but Joe and his wife ignored her. When they left the church, the ex waited for them, demanding to see Sam, but Joe refused. She then demanded to know what to do with the banquet, and he replied that if she wanted, he could arrange for the food to be given to the venue staff so it wouldn't go to waste. Everyone was shouting except Joe because he didn't want to please her. Joe and his wife returned home after stopping by a supermarket and a fast food place. Now, we all sit at home as if we're children again, only there are 2 more of us. We've all taken time off to spend with family after the wedding. When the ex approached our gates, we realized she wasn't going to use the banquet venue, so Joe's wife called and asked them to pick up the food, also tipping them for their work. "We'll probably take all the alcohol our father paid for," she said. So, we're facing a very drunk end of the year. Some asked why our father married our mother in the first place. The answer is simple. He truly loved her and believed she was the kindest person in the world. It turned out she wasn't, but she knew no one would marry her except perhaps her despicable husband if she didn't pretend to be nice. Our father thought of staying with her for the children until we became adults, but our mother became increasingly erratic. Sometimes she behaved very well, and he thought she was changing, but then everything reverted to how it was before. As for the ex-wife, we have no doubt she considers our mother a kind woman with ungrateful children, because our mother is incredibly charming. The only person Sam explained things to was his boss, who was invited to the wedding and was present at the church. He was understanding and shocked by what we went through, because we are generally happy people. Our father said that today was stressful for all of us, and that we could stay home as long as we needed. Sam is temporarily moving here. I showed my family the post, and they were touched by your kindness, but Sam wants everyone to know that his ex-fiancée didn't show any worrying signs, and that he truly believed she understood his childhood. He agreed to meet her and her parents today, but only if the meeting takes place at our home, and we are all present to support him. It promises to be an interesting meeting. Update on my runaway brother. First, a bit more information. Sam lost some money, but it's not critical for him. The ex's parents paid for her very expensive dress, cake, and part of the honeymoon. The ex wasn't universally loved, but we sincerely believed she loved Sam. We don't communicate with relatives on our mother's side. Joe used to keep in touch with our grandmother, but after his wedding, another scandal that was avoided, we also cut off contact. Our mother's comments about wanting to be our father's wife were based on her belief that our days with our dad or our joint outings were wrong, although we also had days with Dad and Joe and days with Dad and Sam. Our father always tried to spend time with each of us individually and as a family. My mother is simply crazy. We don't talk about our childhood, so when people ask about our parents, our standard answer is, "Only my father," or "Only my brothers and father." Most people think our mother died, which helps avoid questions about why we don't communicate with her. Our mother's adopted children are both men over 30, and our father has long had a significant other whom we really like. In recent days, she has been taking care of her own affairs, but has declared that she fully supports us now. Current update: I was surprised why Sam agreed to meet without even talking to his ex, but it turned out she sent a video and photos of all his things scattered on the floor to his best friend Tom, threatening to burn or destroy everything unless Sam talks to her. Tom came to Sam, explained what happened, and they informed the ex that they needed access to the apartment before she did anything. Tom, Joe, several cousins, and my boyfriend went there and took Sam's clothes, electronics, and important documents. Sam said he doesn't care about the rest, and even joked that they are the fastest moving team he knows. This meeting was, to say the least, absurd. The ex came with her parents and sister, trying to talk to Sam alone, but when he refused, she just started ranting without apologizing, claiming it wasn't her fault and that we don't understand the value of a real family. She said we were raised with hatred towards our mother, and that her only intention was to teach Sam to value his mother because she feared he would take their future children from her, as he was taught to do so. Sam didn't say anything until she declared, "Your family is a cult, and you are a terrible father. How can you look at our father like that?" As you can imagine, this is a sensitive topic for all of us, and we never allow insults towards our father. Sam just vented everything, called her a hateful liar, and said he feels disgusted at the thought that he once held her hand and thanked fate for always coming early. He told her that staying married to cheaters like her mother is no reason to be proud. Sam also added that she pretended to be nice to marry him, and listed all the little things he was willing to forgive because he truly loved her. In the end, he declared that he would never forgive her for what she did to his family, but wouldn't hate her because he doesn't want to waste his energy on that, and she doesn't deserve it. Finally, he said she had enough time to settle everything, and since she portrays herself as a victim, he would explain to everyone why he didn't come to the wedding himself. It was harsh but necessary for Sam. Although her parents didn't say anything, it was evident they blushed deeply. The ex cried while her sisters tried to protect her and their parents' relationship, expecting our family to engage in an argument, but we didn't. Then, Sam told his ex-father-in-law that he could sue if he wanted, but if he did, Sam would expose all the family's dirty secrets, which wouldn't benefit her. Surprisingly, the father-in-law still tried to convince Sam to reconcile and marry his ex, stating that families always argue and that they aren't getting any younger. We never rolled our eyes so hard in our lives. The rest of the meeting was dedicated to returning the already received wedding gifts, stopping the pursuit from their family, canceling and refunding the honeymoon money, and changing the locks. The ex continued to cry and try to talk to Sam, but he was firm and didn't want anything to do with her. He only responded once when she said to keep the ring, to which he replied that no one asked him to return it. They left. When the alcohol was delivered, Mom and her husband slipped through the gates while we were opening or closing them. She said she just wanted to talk to her little ones, but our father asked her to leave. She started screaming that he raised us wrong, that we disgraced her with our behavior, and she couldn't believe we were such bad people. She declared that we needed to reconcile with her, because we clearly lacked maternal love. She's right, and this led to such a pitiful outcome. At that moment, Joe came out and told her to leave since we had already called the police. She took it as a good opportunity to cry, as it was the first time in 10 years he had spoken to her. Our mother tried to persuade him to have dinner with her and her husband, but Joe simply told her to go and added that the only news he wanted to hear about her was a message about her funeral, so he could celebrate it. After that, her hysterical screams and her husband's cries, demanding apologies and threatening to hit Joe, began. Joe and his wife just returned home, leaving the couple alone in the yard. When our mother and her husband left, we closed the gates. Many find it hard to understand why we reacted this way, but what I wrote about our mother is just the tip of the iceberg. Our father wasn't proud of Joe's words, but understood he needed to vent and knew Joe was speaking on behalf of all of us. Maybe it makes us bad people, but we really never want to see this woman again. We're all going to undergo family therapy in addition to our individual sessions. Sam no longer wants to live in the house our father gifted him at the wedding, but Dad said we shouldn't rush and that the first step should be restoring his mental state. We organize horror movie marathons and sometimes add classic Disney cartoons. We even had a drama bingo game where we guessed what other events might occur because it seems we're indeed a bit dramatic. We love each other, and were raised to treat people well, but it's better not to anger us. I felt better thinking that the ex had humiliated herself at the meeting, and although I wouldn't wish to be left at the altar, I would do it again because I love my brother more than I pity her. We're planning a family trip, but are continuing our home vacation for now. Brief update 2, clarifications first. Some clarifications. Joe wasn't a parent to us. This is for the person who wrote me a nasty rant on this topic. My brothers spent time with me because they wanted to. They did what they wanted, had many friends, went on trips with or without me, and so on. We had nannies and relatives. My father never forced them to take me along against their will. They had plenty of freedom within reason. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old, and although they shared custody, we spent 90% of our time with our father. We never went to our mother unless there were fewer than 2 of us. The only times Joe and Sam visited her after turning 18 were when she asked me to come, and the brothers didn't want me to go alone. We all have long been in psychotherapy. Now we have sessions again because we met our mother, but only Joe interacted with her. Also, please know that Sam, Joe, and I can stand up for ourselves and didn't ask Joe to provoke her. He did it on his initiative. Sam cried after the wedding was called off. He's not a monster. He has a broken heart, thought he would spend his life with Daniela, and thought he understood people well. He thought he would never see our mother again. There are many emotions, but due to our upbringing, we're very good at controlling them around those we don't trust. It was a survival skill we developed from how we were treated. Joe had a relationship with our grandmother, but stopped communicating after she invited her to his wedding as a +1. There were no ceremonies in the church, and there was security at the banquet with a guest blacklist. Joe wrote a letter to his grandmother and stopped contacting her. We also don't attend her funerals. At the wedding, there were about 250 guests. When creating the guest list and seating arrangements, Daniela used a fake name, so we didn't know our mother was invited. My father asked me to inform you that his children are not alcoholics. He fears people might think that even if everything is anonymous. This week, events unfolded very chaotically. Those who spoke about being ready for false pregnancy tactics were absolutely right. Daniela posted online, and people panicked again, calling Sam to ask if it's true. Sam called her and asked her to delete the post. She continued to claim she was pregnant. He asked her again to delete it, and suggested meeting to discuss it. She deleted the post, met with Sam, and for some reason decided she wanted him back. I went with him, and she was very happy until she saw me enter with him. She began crying, holding her stomach. When Sam asked if she was truly pregnant, she said yes, and declared she didn't want her child to grow up without a father. Sam said they would go to a doctor immediately to confirm everything. She cried even harder, shouting that he doesn't trust her. It turned out she wasn't pregnant, but she posted again, claiming Sam forced her to have an abortion, and that she was devastated. As you can imagine, it was a terrible statement that made people call Sam again, not knowing what to believe, so shocked by all this drama. When Joe's wife, Anna, learned about the posts and meetings, she called Daniela. I don't know exactly what she said, but I've never seen Anna so angry. The posts were deleted, but Anna wrote an email with all the current information, including that Daniela was never pregnant, and sent it to everyone on the wedding guest list. This morning, we learned that Daniela had a nervous breakdown after leaving Sam voicemails with threats that if she couldn't be with him, she didn't want to live. This is another tactic straight out of our mother's textbook. Sam simply called the police and reported what happened. Daniela's family forced her to seek help, and now she is under observation. We derive no pleasure from how far things have gone, but we no longer want to interfere. We're also changing our phone numbers. Our mother sent Anna a letter threatening to sue her for defamation due to her mass mailing, but we aren't worried about it. Joe was furious, but she convinced him to let it go and just ignore it. Our mother's husband, as usual, handled it gracefully. Our father is considering obtaining a restraining order, but in our country, this process isn't very efficient. Yesterday, we had a meeting at home and had a lot of fun. Karaoke, dancing, delicious food and drinks, games, and a trampoline house. Why not? We love them. Most attendees avoided talking about the wedding and posts, but those who brought it up did so tactfully. Dad had already given most of the alcohol to his employees. Everyone could choose what they wanted and got a bottle each. He also added bottles to his Christmas gift baskets. This year, we plan to celebrate the holidays together and go on a trip. I told Sam about painting his house, but he still doesn't want to live there and plans to rent it out. I joked that I might just run away or not have a real wedding to avoid drama. Joe said they'd throw the biggest party if I did. So yes, he's the best for a celebratory update. Thank you for your interest. You're all so sweet, and it's always a joy for me to come here and keep you updated. First, a few points. Some noted that I particularly missed having a female figure in my life, but I had a grandmother, aunties, and other female relatives. My dad's girlfriend, Rita, doesn't replace my mother, and I don't feel it makes me a bad woman when I started my periods. I told my father, and he was fully prepared. He planned everything and then informed my brothers, each of whom also prepared. They had different approaches, and none knew each other's plans. In the end, I had 3 men taking care of me and even made a presentation. It might seem awkward for a teenage girl, but it was even more awkward for them. Now, it seems like an incredibly funny story that reminds me how much they cared about me. Rita is amazing, and we love her very much. She feels comfortable in her relationship with my father without marriage. My father no longer wants to marry, but if he did, we would support him. Daniel is fine. Her sisters tried to create drama and blame us for terrible behavior, but after the letter sent by Anna, no one believed those accusations. By the way, one of Daniela's sisters was dumped by her boyfriend because he didn't want to have anything to do with her toxic family. I won't disclose where we live or what my father does, so please stop asking us. We have new phone numbers, new social media accounts, and we plan to move. Joe and I have mainly good news for you. Sam feels good. He took a break from work, and his understanding boss said he can always return. Now, he lives with our father and has savings, so he's financially secure. Sam started running and decided to participate in a marathon next year. He's gradually returning to his cheerful, somewhat silly self, repairing the house, or more precisely, Dad and Sam are crashing and painting wall murals. It's funny and brings them much joy. Daniela wrote him a letter, but he didn't read it. The house is up for rent, as Sam wished. I'm engaged. It turned out my boyfriend had been planning this for months. When I joked about running away from my wedding, my future husband, Matt, panicked that I had revealed his plans. He first talked to Sam, who already knew about it because he didn't want him to feel awkward. But Sam said it would be uncomfortable if Matt hadn't proposed to me because of him. Then Matt talked to Joe and my father. Dad made him nervous when he asked for my hand, saying it wasn't up to him, but then it turned into a joke. This happened earlier this month. I'm very excited, but not as much as my father. He says he wants to lead me to the altar. Joe and Anna had been on the adoption list for a long time, and a few weeks ago, it happened. They now have the most beautiful, sweet, and best little girl in the world. We knew they wanted to adopt a child, so when they announced that the little one was officially theirs, everyone cried tears of joy. Dad fully embraced his role as grandfather, and despite this year's challenges, it's the best thing that happened to our family in many years. Our mother found out about the little one and demanded a meeting. We filed for a restraining order against her, so she will never see her if it depends on us. Due to the pandemic, we decided to stay home with the newborn. Last weekend, we had a small party combining Christmas celebration, family edition, and my engagement. Joe and my niece couldn't attend in person since the little one is still newborn, but they joined us via Zoom. We all agreed to give Sam funny gifts like t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, and similar items featuring Julia Roberts because, Sam's runaway fiancé. The reason Joe and I are considering moving is that we currently live in apartments, but want to live in houses. I think this will be the last update. Friends, I know the recent updates have been mostly drama-free and perhaps not as exciting, but that's what we're aiming for. End of 2022 summary. I think it's time to update information for those who still want to know what's happening with our family due to numerous requests. Yes, our native language is Spanish. Adoption in our country is a final process handled by the state, and in open adoptions, biological parents and future adoptive families have the right to interact with each other, which happens extremely rarely. Joe and Anna waited their turn for a while, because that's how they decided to have children. Now, we're 35, 33, and 29 years old. Joe and I moved into houses as planned last year. The year went quite well, with only minor drama. Bad news: Daniela returned to our lives, which we didn't expect at all. She is pregnant and claims to everyone willing to listen that Sam is the father of the child. Unfortunately for her, it's literally impossible because Sam wasn't even in the country when the child could have been conceived. However, she didn't know that. Sam repeatedly offered to take a paternity test, but she refused. Sam is legally safe, but he feels sorry for her child. Daniela's father sued Sam for emotional stress he allegedly caused to her two daughters, Daniela herself and the one her boyfriend left her for, but nothing came of it because Joe handled it. Surprise! Joe's lawyer advised Sam not to take any action against Daniela's father because he has too much going on and feels pity for the family. Our mother still insists on meeting the little one, but that will never happen. She uses one of her favorite tactics, claiming she has cancer. She contacted Joe and Anna through their work emails, begging to meet the little one because she's so sick she might need a transplant of an essential organ. This is the 5th time she's claimed to have cancer, but in reality, she never had it. She just likes the attention, suffering, drama, and all the things bad people love to provoke in others. We didn't believe her, but they expected her to make a complete fool of herself when contacting Anna on Facebook. Anna's mother is a wonderful, kind Catholic woman, and probably thought it would be easy to manipulate her. She told her about her cancer, and how much it hurts that she can't see the little one. Anna's mother asked several questions about the diagnosis and treatment, which made no sense, then blocked our mother and posted screenshots of the conversation on her page. Straight up school drama, but with the older generation. So we couldn't help but laugh. Meanwhile, the little one is very happy and healthy, and the only controversial point related to her was how Rita would be called. The problem wasn't Rita, but our mother, who declared that Rita has no right to be called a grandmother. Joe and Anna talked to Rita, and everyone agreed that she is the grandmother. Rita and our mother can't do anything about it. Sam feels good. He quit his job and started his own business. He still lives in the family house, rents out another house, and is apparently seeing someone. She's sweet, knows everything that happened, bakes amazing cakes, can knit, and we like her. So, we're both positively and cautiously optimistic. Their relationship is developing slowly but nicely. Our father first got sick with corona, and it scared him so much that he decided to update his will. Joe, as an attorney, handled the documents. When they finalized everything with our father, they wanted Sam and me to know that all his property was divided into 4 parts for the children and 1/4 for the grandchildren. However, the family house won't be divided. It will soon be registered in my name. I was a bit surprised, but Joe and Dad discussed it and decided it was the right thing to do, but only if Sam agreed. He agreed. They didn't provide any detailed explanations other than saying it was the right action. I think they decided this because I'm the youngest in the family, but I'm okay with it. Joe bought a house in the same neighborhood as our family house. Matt and I moved into the family house, and it turned out to be an interesting but pleasant experience. Our father began partially retiring and spending more time with Rita. Sam can, of course, stay in the house as long as he wants. We're still engaged, still happy, still enjoying the role of nannies, and aren't expecting a child yet, but we got a cat in the spring. We planned a wedding in December and couldn't imagine a better end to the year. End of 2023 summary. To start, as always, traditional points. We now have 2 cats. Sam moved in with his girlfriend, and we're just happy he found happiness again. Dad partially moved in with Rita and is now living with her. Everything is good. On the bad news front, it turned out that cancer was indeed in the family from our mother's side, but not her. One of her stepchildren got cancer and passed away earlier this year. Our mother is using this to her advantage, and as usual, we feel disgusted with her, though we sympathize with their loss. Our decision to cut off communication with her and her family remains unchanged. Daniela had a very cute baby boy who is not Sam's son, not that we doubted it. She tried to make him acknowledge the child and sign some documents, but he refused. After a DNA test, she had no options left. She freaked out when she found out Sam was seeing someone, and it got worse when he moved in with his girlfriend. She still believes Sam is the one for her because she's fixated on it. She even tried cyberbullying his girlfriend, but this woman is tough, and the father of her child turned out to be her married colleague in his 50s, which is another circus. Thankfully, we have nothing to do with it. Sam moved in with his girlfriend, still attends therapy like all of us, but feels much better. His girlfriend is a beloved and respected member of our family. She understands everything and has integrated beautifully into our lives. He even ran his first marathon. Let's say the result wasn't perfect, but he did it, and that's what matters. Joe and Anna are very happy. They are still on the adoption list as they would like to have another child. I also want to clarify once more that in our country, adoptions don't go through agencies. You're put in a queue after checks and interviews to determine if you're a suitable candidate. When a suitable child appears, you receive them, and they're immediately yours. Please remember that we're not in the USA, and every country has different laws. The little one is simply the best child in the world. Yes, I might be biased, but she often hears the word, "can't," because we all agree that she shouldn't be overly spoiled. Our father effectively lives with Rita. She's very happy. She likes being a grandmother, and they actively participate in the little one's life. Now they consider themselves to have 3 grandchildren because sometimes the cats visit them too. It's funny because initially, Dad wasn't thrilled about the idea of having cats, but now he even photographs them and prints out the best shots because he's used to it. He buys them too many toys, in my opinion, but apparently, that's what grandfathers do. We got married in December. Dad walked me down the aisle. Joe was the best man, and he became my best friend. He insisted on being called Julio throughout the entire wedding preparation process. My mother wanted to come and try to persuade Anna's mother to help her, but she said nothing. Some of our mother's relatives said it was unworthy to invite Rita instead of my mother, but I find it disgusting to justify her actions. So, everyone sticks to their opinion. The wedding was amazing without drama. No one ran away. No one cried from grief. No one tried to cause a scene. We started renovating part of the house to make it truly ours, and finally stopped living in my childhood room. Sam received a bit fewer gifts with Julia Roberts, but he proudly wore his t-shirts all year. In the end, Sam's girlfriend shared an idea to propose to him when the right moment comes. So who knows, maybe this time he'll really walk down the aisle. A bittersweet update. Final sad update. Let's start with something sad and heavy because it's truly connected to everything that happened. One of my uncles had a stroke, and that's where everything began for my grandmother. It was such a shock that it happened to the youngest of her children. He slowly recovered, but depression and disappointment were too much for him, and he didn't want to live that way. It was one of the hardest deaths in our family, because just a few months ago, he was completely healthy, and we all thought he would recover. My father was completely broken, and it was hard for us all to see him in such a state. After that, our grandmother's health sharply declined. She was elderly but generally healthy until that moment. We were very afraid for our father, but within a few months, he got better, and by the end of summer, he was more himself again. Our grandmother died at the end of November of natural causes, but we all believe it was from a broken heart because she kept repeating that parents shouldn't keep their children and that holidays are bittersweet. As you can imagine, but we managed as always. Sorry for this sad excerpt, but it's necessary for the rest of the update. Our mother, as usual, acted like a monster, trying to come to the funeral and talk to us, but it didn't end well for her at the funeral. Everyone was on guard, and we didn't notice her in the church. She approached me, grabbed my hand, and said we needed to talk. She said she didn't want to wait until one of us died for the family to reunite again, and that as women in the family, we should resolve everything because, in her words, our family fell apart because of me. I just told her to let me go, and when she didn't and continued to say all sorts of nonsense about how terrible I am, and that I'll go to hell if I don't fix everything before it's too late, I responded that if we end up on the same level as hell, I'll apologize to her, otherwise, I hope she dies soon. She started screaming, crying, and creating a scene, but she was kicked out. Should I be proud of my words? Yes, maybe I'll end up in hell with her, but I don't care. We got a dog that belonged to my uncle. My aunt asked us to take her in temporarily while she was in rehab, but after his death, she asked us to keep her because she was his special friend, and it was too hard for her to watch. The dog is very friendly, and the cats got used to her after numerous fights and crying. They finally behave well, and sometimes even sleep together. Now, regarding what I wrote in the last update, the brother is already married, and everything happened very quickly. He planned a long engagement, but his grandmother asked him to have the wedding early, and he couldn't refuse. His wedding became the last major family event she attended. Despite all this, it was a very happy wedding, and Sam reached the altar. We didn't doubt it, but we still joke about it. Sam is incredibly happy, and his now wife was amazing during the preparation time. It was a completely different experience compared to last time. With Matt, everything is going quite well given the circumstances. We're trying to have family gatherings as often as possible since we have enough space, and overall, we're pretty good hosts. Although, at the Christmas dinner, we messed up a bit because someone, me, forgot to buy a few key ingredients. But luckily, Rita and Matt went to the store and saved the situation. Since then, I'm responsible for the drinks, and honestly, I can't complain. We're keeping our fingers crossed that 2024 will be better than 2023 for all of us. 2024 update. I'll start with the bad news. It's complete absurdity, and still makes me angry. Daniela decided that since her life is trash, she'll try to involve Sam. She accused him of abandoning their child, who isn't his, accused him of violence that never happened, and then declared he tried to raise someone from her relatives while they were together, which also never happened. This became enormous stress for Sam and his wife, Lola, because not everyone is aware of all the drama Daniela has surrounded herself with. They immediately went on the counterattack, and this crazy woman declared she would retreat if Sam returned to her, because he's the only one for her. Lola did the same as last time, posted screenshots and revealed all the dirty secrets she knew about Daniela's family, including but not limited to that one of her sisters was dating wealthy old men. Was it pleasant? No, but I think all means are good when someone accuses your husband. In such a situation, Daniela eventually deleted all her accusations, and in the end, Sam sued her because he was tired of her antics. It seems she still wears the wedding ring. She needs help. Her family made a huge scene about it, but Sam and Lola told them to shut up or they'd go further. Additionally, our mother tried to contact us because her brother is ill. We checked, and it's true, but we're not interested and still don't want any relationship with them. We understand it might seem heartless, but we can't even allow ourselves a little involvement because we know how it would turn out for us. Joe and Lola run together, and I'm very pleased that our family now has such a positive atmosphere. Rita's father is also doing well. At some point, Rita had to firmly set boundaries regarding the number of things our father brought into her home. They reached a compromise, kept some items, and the rest were put in storage or given to relatives. It was their biggest issue, and was funny to watch them sort through things. However, our father still hasn't fully recovered from last year's losses, and Rita stays with him no matter what. Sometimes he breaks down, and it scares us because we're afraid he might reach our grandmother's state, which worries us a lot. Joe and Anna are strong as ever. The little one, Sophia, is doing great. However, Anna's mother isn't feeling well, and we fear she might have dementia. We hope it's something less serious because all plans for expanding the family are currently on hold. If they get another chance to adopt, that would be different, but right now, they're not pursuing it. Their focus is on Sophia's health, our father's condition, and Anna's mother's diagnosis. With Matt, we're all good with our fluffy little ones. We bought an aquarium because Sophia loves fish, and Sam, as it turns out, always wanted an aquarium. Why not? Matt decided to pursue a doctoral degree, and I'm very proud of him. Right now, I'm the main nanny for Sophia and won't pretend that I don't like it. We walk the dog, play with the cats, read books, feed the fish, talk a lot. Yes, I know how it sounds, but I love our conversations and discuss whether to get a turtle because, apparently, it's the coolest animal in the world. I would like to say that I see a lot of positivity in the near future, but I just hope our loved ones stay safe and healthy. I want to give special attention to the following. Some of you shared your stories about toxic or cruel family members. I hope you're doing well now. If our strange and tangled story helped you in any way, I'm very happy. Sorry I didn't respond to all your messages, but know that I read them all. Everything will be okay. There are many good people in the world. Well, that's all. The updates are over. As you understand, 2024 is ending now, and of course, write in the comments what you think about this long story. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Watch our previous video, which you'll see here as well. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new videos of this kind, and good luck.